Hey, what's up, y'all? Back for the Monday vid, trying to help y'all get into some Naruto 5e, and this week, we got the Hunter-Nin. Let's hop into it. Now, hold on! Do you really think I was gonna let you just skirt on by into this video without subscribing to the channel? Come on, it's free, means the world. I won't bore you with it. We'll get into the video. So the Hunter-Nin, what are we working with here? Well, basically, it's the rogue, right? If you like the stealth, you like the knives, the critical hits, the things of that nature, this is what you're going to want to play. Now, if you've ever played regular D&D, as I kind of said a second ago, and you've played rogue and you enjoyed it, this is very, very similar. They have a lot of similar takes, a lot of similar abilities. Your playstyle is probably going to be pretty similar. And if you're looking for similar characters, because maybe you really like basing your characters around certain people, then think about people like Minato, Kakashi, especially young Kakashi, Shisui. Just a few examples of some more of the hunter style thing that you could be looking for. Now you want to see some dope stuff? Bang, just like that, character sheet. Now, when building the character sheet for your Hunter-Nin, you're going to want to put a lot into Dex if you're building the typical Hunter-Nin. The main reason being is you're not going to be very tanky. And unless you want some kind of interesting tanky Hunter-Nin hybrid, then I suppose so. But more than likely, you're going to want to be avoiding hits rather than tanking them and just sitting there absorbing them all. It just typically isn't going to work out great. Now, after that, you're going to want to go ahead and pick your second highest number into probably intelligence or wisdom. The main reason being, you're going to want some form of jutsus, and even though jutsus aren't going to be your focus, and really for a lot of cases, possibly not even your main form of damage, it's good to have. When you have a super fast character, it can kind of counteract some of the need for a really high con, so instead we're going to put it into something that will either help offensive jutsu, defensive jutsus, even genjutsus if you go that route, so pick either intelligence or wisdom and put the second highest into that column. Now, after that point, honestly, you can pretty much put your numbers into whatever you want. If you want to do something maybe more tanky and maybe have some more chakra to use, gonna want to put it in con. Or maybe you want to be a little more persuasive or something like that, then you might want to go charisma. From this point, it's a little more flexible once you kind of lock in those first 2 points. Now, honestly, when it comes into clans, you have a ton of freedom for the Hunter-Nin class. I wouldn't necessarily do any that focus like heavily into genjutsus or jutsus because those would just be better suited for other classes, but anything that just kind of gives general buffs and is just overall a decent clan can really help you here. Some really notable ones would be something like the Uchiha. Their Sharingan just offers a lot and gives you a ton of stuff to work with. The Hyuga, which again, very similar. They have the Byakugan, which can give you a little more room when it comes to different types of vision, just, different ways of dealing damage, things like that. Or if you want to be a speedy boy, you want to be going crazy, you go with Namikaze. That would be Minato's clan. So if you want to be a really fast boy, which again leads into the whole putting points into Dex, that's a good way to go as well. But like I said, honestly, clan-wise, tons of freedom, and you could put pretty much in there and make it work. Now for jutsus, and when it comes to putting jutsus in, again, very similar to the other one, you have a lot of freedom here. Now, if you want to be a little more min-maxy, or you want to do something that just kind of makes sense and very easily fits into the idea of the Hunter-Nin, picking anything that helps you with stealth, anything that helps you with speed to get in, get out, anything that's maybe AC boosting, things of that nature. Those will typically be the easy ones to kind of fit in and really lock into your group. It's also obviously going to depend on your clan that you choose because that can maybe unlock, different releases, which will give you access to different jutsus. But overall, jutsu-wise, you have a lot of freedom, and it's really going to depend on what kind of hunter you're running. But for the typical, look for speed, stealth, high damage numbers quickly. So as for role-playing when it comes to being a Hunter-Nin, again, very versatile. You could be a very happy guy that's a murderer or a very upset murderer, right? A lot of options. You can be a little sneaky, going through the smoke, going through the darkness, right? Whatever you're feeling. When it comes to different ability scores and things like that, you are almost assuredly going to be good at things like sleight of hand, deception, persuasiveness. Yeah, it depends where you put it. Your dexterity is probably going to be pretty high, so pretty good at acrobatics and checks like that. So when thinking about role-playing stuff, realize you're probably going to be a little dexterous boy and probably a little sneaky with some of the other stuff you can do. Now, when it comes to what to expect in combat, understand you're going to be zipping, moving, dodging, diving, ducking, right? You're going to be hitting, getting in, getting out, doing all those good things. that's more than likely what you're going to focus on. You're going to make your damage numbers really, really high, and you're going to want to make the amount of times you get hit really, really low. Most of the time, you're not going to be able to take very many. You might get hit 2, maybe 3 times, and you might just be knocked out depending on the strength of the enemy. So be sure you are stabbing in and stabbing out as fast as possible. And now for the subclasses of the Hunter-Nin, which, granted, there's a lot, kind of like the Genjutsus, you have plenty of choices. This is also really going to determine what you do. So for Genjutsu, you were pretty much always using Genjutsu. It was a little bit different styles, but for these guys specifically, it can really change your game plan and how you're going to go about things. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Now the first class you're going to possibly look at is Blade Warden. These guys do pretty much what they sound like. They're very good with their blade. You're going to get things like extra hit, going to be hitting harder, going to be hitting more. That's the basic idea of them. So if you want to be good with your knife or your sword or whatever you're using and you want to be hitting a lot, Blade Warden is it. Next up, we got Necrotic Hand. Now, if you want to be a doctor, but maybe a doctor that hands out medicine that's not very medicine, this is good for you, okay? Necrotic Hand is all about using medicine in a not nice way. Now, not necessarily poison. I don't want to get that confused because there's another Hunter-Nin that will focus on that. But rather, these guys will maybe mess with the enemy's body, maybe hit pressure points, maybe twist things, maybe do things of that nature. So if you want to mess with the human body, not necessarily in a poisonous way, but a medical way, this is it. Now, as we talked about earlier, you want to be a little shadow boy, a little lurky goofer, huh? A little something like that. Grave Stalker is it. That's for you. All right, these guys thrive in the shadows. They love to track their prey, and when they do, they're going to hit them before they even know where they are. All right, these guys are heard rarely and seen never. Okay, you want to be sneaky boy? You want to be in the shadows? This is it. This is the one for you. You like being a hunter? You like setting traps? You like being the boy that just sits there and a little tinker, put it down? It hurts? All right, well, you want to be an Arsenalist. Now, this doesn't mean you're setting fire to everything, okay? These guys are the trappy boys, all right? Their whole goal is to just put traps down everywhere and make people stepping in. And no, not those traps. Stop Googling images of Haku right now. I swear on everything on my mama, okay? It's traps to hurt people, all right? Y'all gotta be better than this. Now, maybe none of these suit you, and maybe you want to just hand your enemies a little drink and give them a little... and they set it down and start feeling a little woozy, right? You've poisoned them. And if you like the idea of that, go with Undertaker, okay? These guys have a default poison that they get at all times, just naturally, and plus they're really good at using it. So if you want to be poisoned-based and you really want to focus on making your enemies hate their insides, this is what you want to do. Go with Undertaker. Now, maybe you wanted to be a Genjutsu specialist, but decided that you kind of wanted to go a little more stealthy, a little more Hunter-Nin-ish, right? Bisaging is where it's at, okay? Now, these guys tend to be fairly Genjutsu focused. They have a lot of things that kind of buff and change Genjutsus. A really neat thing is they really play off the 7 deadly sins. They have different variations and things you can do that play off of the different sins and different vices that people have, right? So if you like the idea of Genjutsu, getting a little ocular maybe, something like that, go ahead and go with these guys. Now for our second to last option here, we got Voidwalker. If you like the idea of bopping through space and time, this is it. These are the choice. Now these guys are really good, especially if you're already fast. So if you're going to take this one, I do go ahead and recommend putting points in Dex specifically, but that's what these guys are really good at. They're going to be able to teleport a little bit for part of their movement. They're going to get in, get out. Think of it something kind of like Obito's Kamui, where you're kind of going to be like messing with space-time, going through portals. That's a general idea. And if that sounds cool, go with them. Now, last but not least, do you want to get in? You want to cause some damage? You want to be violent? An absolute beast? Some would even say a wolf? I'm so sorry, I'm not going to do that. But anyway, Wolf's Legacy. That's where you want to be, okay? Wolf's Legacy, these guys get in, they get dirty, they go for the kill. That's where they thrive. And if that sounds cool to you, get you some Wolf's Legacy. So there you have it. That's your baseline for a Hunter-Nin and kind of how to create them, how to make them. Now, per usual, tried to leave you a lot of room so, you can, go a little wider and elaborate on what I said. Maybe even go smaller and really follow exactly what I told you to do. Whatever you do, it's your choice. That's the beautiful thing about Naruto 5e. There's so much customization. You can do whatever the heck you want to do. But nonetheless, that's all I got for you today. I will see you all in the next video. And drop a comment if you got any questions. Hit the sub button if you're really, really cool. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.